Okay, so the chicken dilemma. Before we get into the video, I just ask that you guys quickly hit the subscribe button. I'm able to see that most of you guys who watch the videos are not subscribed, but if you enjoy the content and you would like more to come out soon, just quickly hit the subscribe button. It really helps motivate me to create more videos. Can't believe this is an actual supposed argument that Muslims have been trying to run. I've seen on TikTok lives, the Orthodox Muslim has been running this. And basically what they'll do is they'll show an image of 3 chickens and they'll tell Christians to prove that it's not one chicken. And what they're trying to do is make a parody of the Trinity and blaspheme and say that if we can call the divine essence a singular essence with 3 persons, then we should be able to count one chicken. Now, usually they'll ask you at the beginning, what is your counting method, is typically what I've seen that they'll ask you. And it's important to understand that this question could be understood in 3 ways, really. They could be asking, for one, how do you logically formulate that there's 3 persons in one God, which most of the time they're not asking. Number 2, they could be asking, how do you know there's 3 persons in one God, which is fairly trivial. It's revealed through us through scripture. So most of the time they're not asking that. And the third one is most of the time what they are asking, which is what is it such that makes it that there's one God and 3 persons? And this question can be answered fairly simply. What they want to know, though, is why there are, in humans, for example, a single divine essence, assuming you hold that there's one universal human nature, but there's instantiations of humans. And this is fairly simple. Aquinas answered this a while ago, and many theologians thereafter have as well dealt with this same metaphysical dispute, which is that humans have a principle of individuation, which is that they instance the universal, the potential of the essence in matter. They instance themselves in matter, which individuates each person. Same thing with chickens. You can think about it in terms of the images that are provided by the very Muslims running their TikTok lives. The way we individuate chickens and the way we know that there are different chickens is that we see that there are separate material beings. So the principle of individuation in the human being and in the chicken is that they are material beings. Now, God is an immaterial being. There is no principle of individuation in God or for instancing God. The second point is that for a universal to be a universal, it has to be in principle instantiable. It has to be it has to be able to be instanced. And assuming you're holding to traditional Aristotelian metaphysics, which most of Christianity does, the principal cause of a thing is in the thing, which means that before it is instant, it is just potentially actual, which means for a thing to be instantiable, it has to be in principle multiply able to be multiply instantiated, which means it has to be able to receive existence, because to instance something means to go from potential to a separate existing substance. So what does that mean? Well, in God, we don't believe there's a distinction between his essence and his existence, because he is pure subsistent being itself. If he is pure subsistent being itself, then by definition, God cannot be a universal. God cannot be instantiated. Created beings are not like that, though. Created beings receive their existence through God. Even Muslims agree with this. So this isn't something, that is drastically controversial and up for dispute, which is that created beings receive their existence from God. They only have existence because God puts it in them, right? They're created. But in Christian metaphysics, overwhelmingly, there is no distinction between God's existence and his essence. So what does that mean? Well, that entails that God is not a universal. God cannot be instantiated, which means that the analogy trying to be drawn in the supposed chicken dilemma fails, because we know that what are being provided are material beings, right? On the screen provided, those individual chickens or humans or whatnot extend in space and time. There's space between them to which we can identify them as individual beings.